Okay, let's have a look at some HTML audio. So this could be to play background music, for example, or it could be to play sound effects when certain things are clicked or moused over or when certain keys are pressed. It's entirely up to you, so be creative with it. But really the way to implement audio on a website is pretty much the same. No matter what it is that you're trying to do with it. It's just the way that you write your JavaScript will differ depending on how your software works. So let's just first of all look at implementing audio onto our website. Now, I'm here with the starter code. Feel free to construct this yourself or to download the starter code from the lesson. It's entirely up to you. So the way that we implement audio into our web pages is simply by using the audio tags. Now, there's a couple of things that an audio tag will need. It will need to know exactly where the audio file is that you want it to play. And it will also need some interaction as well. It needs a way to play it. And we'll look at the first easiest way of implementing that now. So first of all, we need to give it a src, a source, equals, and this is a little bit like an image, right? You know, you need an image source, well, you need an audio source. And very much like images, we can have local images and we can also have kind of a URL to somewhere on the internet where it will find the source. Now, you can go ahead and find your own sound file if you would like, or feel free to use the one that I've put below this video. So what I'm just going to do there is just move this around so that it's a bit easier for you to see. And what I've done there is I've just pasted the path to an MP3 file. So let's go ahead and open this with Live Server. Just going to bring this across here. Now you'll see our web page has absolutely nothing on it. Let's just go and inspect just to see what's happening here. Now, if we actually look into the body, you'll see that the audio tag is there, but it's just not visible. That's because without adding kind of our controls to it, there's nothing to show. You know, you can't see audio, you can only hear it. So the easiest way to actually play our sound is to go back to our audio tag here and add the controls attribute. So if we save this now and head over back to our web page, and I'm just going to move that there so I can flick between them quite easily, you'll see that we now have this control kind of box here that's got the duration, it's got a little seeking bar, it's got volume and muting controls, and it's even got a little playback speed as well that we can play it back faster or slower. So if I now play this, it appears that nothing's happening. That's because I've got it muted. Okay, let's give that another go. Hey, fantastic, we actually have some sound now. Okay, so this is great if you just want to show your users that they can play this sound using the default controls. Of course, this can be styled as well. But what if you've got a game, for example, and you've got, I don't know, a little sprite or something that jumps and you just want to play a jumping sound every time they jump? Well, this wouldn't really be particularly good because we'd have to ask our user to play the sound manually. That's not really very good indeed. So in this instance, let's try playing the sound when a button or a div is clicked. So let's go ahead and just remove all of the attributes, including the src, the source, from this audio. And what we want to do is we want to add here a button, and let's just call this play audio so that it just has that as text in the button. Let's just make sure that that's appeared. Yep, brilliant. Our button is there. We've still obviously got our audio tag in here, but just, again, because we've taken away that controls attribute, it's no longer showing up on our web page. So because we want to use JavaScript to interact with these, we could grab these elements without using IDs, but it's good practice. We'll say ID equals, and let's just call this audio because it's our audio tag. Now, this button, we will give it an ID of, let's call it play BTN. Okay, let's save this and head over to our script. Of course, if you're using the starter code, this will be written for you. If not, make sure that you write your init function here with the DOM content loaded event listener. Okay, so we're going to have to grab our elements. We could do this with getElementById. We could do this with query selector. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to use getElementById. Why not? So let's say const play button, spelled correctly, equals document dot get element by ID. And then the ID of this, let me just go and double check, was play BTN. Let's copy and paste that so that I don't make any typos. Then we're going to also need our audio element. So we'll say const audio equals document dot get element by ID. And then what was this again? This was just audio. So I'm going to copy and paste that into there. Fab. So we should have our elements. Let's just confirm that. Console.log play button, save, head over here into our console. Brilliant. There's our element. Let's just do the same with our audio. Save that. And brilliant, we've got our audio element here as well. Fantastic. Right, let's just get rid of that console.log because we've confirmed that they work. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to add an event listener onto that play button. So we'll say play button dot add event listener. And then for this, we'll say when it is clicked. Of course, this could be mouse over or any number of different events, but we will just say for our click events, we want to run a function, and we'll call this function play audio. So let's now write our play audio function. So we'll say function play audio, and of course we'll use the autocomplete so that we make no typos. Brackets and curly brackets there. So let's just first of all make sure that our event listener and our function are working. So we'll console.log play button clicked. Save that and head over to our console, which is already up, and brilliant. We are registering our play button clicked. Okay, let's head back over to our JavaScript. And let's actually start playing some audio. So what we can do is we can get this element, so we can say audio dot, and then we can set the source attribute to whatever we want. So we could say audio.src equals, and then it's a string. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy that path again and paste it here. So if we save that now and head back over to our web page, I'm just going to go to our elements here and have a look at our body and have a look at our audio here. Now when I click this play audio, you'll see that it adds that source to our audio tag. Fantastic. Of course, you'll have noticed that you didn't actually get any audio then. Well, that's because when we use JavaScript to play audio, we actually have to use the play method. So what we need to do here is we need to say audio dot play. Now, of course, this is a method, so we need our parentheses afterwards. And we can Command S there to save. Let's head back on over here, play audio, and we get our audio. Absolutely fantastic. There is just one more thing that I want to show you. Now, I quite like to put an audio tag in my HTML, grab it into my JavaScript, and then manipulate it there. Other ways that you might see this done, and there's pros and cons to each of them, but another way that you might see this is using purely JavaScript to create our audio elements. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to comment out this audio here. And then I'm going to go to my index as well, and I'm actually going to completely delete, or actually we can just comment this out as well, our audio here. So if I save this now, and we just try and do this, you'll see that we're getting errors and we're getting no audio. That's because audio is not defined. That's fine. So if we go back to our script, we can create those audio elements purely with JavaScript as well. So what I can do here is I can say const audio, and I'm just choosing the same variable name that we've used here so that I don't have to change all of my code. So we'll say const audio equals, and then we can use new audio. And don't forget the parentheses afterwards. So now if I hit save there, what we should get is this, all of these kind of controls will actually manipulate this audio element here. So let's see if we get our audio now. Excellent, fantastic. So if we go to our elements and back to our body, you'll see that it doesn't actually have any audio elements here, but we know that they're there because we get our audio. Just one last thing to bear in mind though is that the user has to actually interact with the web page before any audio will play. So you can have them interact with the button and then have that play the audio, but you can't have something happen automatically. Let's just show how this works as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy our audio.source and our audio.play out into that init function here. Let's just remove the indent from that. And if I save this now, and I go and refresh the page, what you would imagine would happen is, as this loads, we'd set the source to our car horn, and then it would just play automatically. But we are getting an error over here. So uncaught in promise, DOM exception, play failed because the user didn't interact with the document first. Now, this should work as far as JavaScript is concerned. The problem is that years ago, kind of in the late 90s and early 2000s, it was very popular for web developers to just play background music on their websites, and companies liked to have music playing on their websites. But unfortunately, this was incredibly annoying for the user. You'd often not really know where the audio was coming from. So what Chrome did, and what all of the browsers now do, is they say you have to do something on the web page before we let you play audio. So just make sure that you're making your audio play via some sort of button click or something like that. Maybe the user has to hit start game or something like that before you start playing audio. Otherwise, you're going to get these errors.